Today in court, civil rights attorneys argued that the LEARNS Act is vague when it comes to what teachers can and can't say inside the classroom. Attorneys for the state would not answer our questions after the hearing, and in court, they could not tell the judge exactly what is critical race theory.
It's still that blurriness as to where the line is.
Ruthie Walls teaches AP African American Studies at Little Rock Central High School. She's one of two teachers suing Governor Sarah Sanders, the Secretary of Education, and State Board of Education members, claiming that part of the LEARNS Act banning critical race theory inside Arkansas classrooms is too vague and that it violates free speech of teachers and students.
When you have a lot of the topic sources that we have, just the question of what do they consider critical race theory and how far can I go in my explanations and discussions on the topics.
In May, a federal judge issued a temporary injunction blocking the state from enforcing that section of the law. The Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals is reviewing that ruling. Today, lawyers for the state asked the judge to dismiss the lawsuit, arguing that the law clearly defines prohibited indoctrination and that teachers' First Amendment rights do not apply inside public school classrooms. The state law requires the Department of Education to identify anything that indoctrinates students with ideologies such as critical race theory that goes against equal protections. The law defines prohibited indoctrination as a school employee or speaker that compels a person to adopt a certain idea that goes against the Civil Rights Act. But when asked to define critical race theory in court, attorneys for the state were not able to give the judge a clear and concise answer.
I think their inability to define critical race theory is an excellent reason why this statute is in fact vague. Given that the state who is supporting this law cannot define what CRT is, we don't believe that teachers are able to understand what CRT is and are able to know what they can and cannot teach.
Civil rights attorneys are also alleging that state legislators were racially motivated when drafting that section of the LEARNS Act.
The target was African American teachers and students and the desire to curb any First Amendment rights that they have to talk about some of the most pressing and vital aspects in our society today.
What a better democracy lesson than what we are experiencing right now.
Today, the judge did not issue a ruling on the motion to dismiss the federal lawsuit. Right now, there's also no word when the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals will issue its ruling on the temporary injunction that's currently in place. In Little Rock, Brett Rains, 4029 News.